Before you scroll away, pause for just a moment. Think about how fast the last 5 years passed. Think about how hard you worked, how tired you felt, and how little actually changed financially. Now imagine waking up 10 years from now, still worried about money, still depending on a salary that barely keeps up, still telling yourself, I should have started earlier. That feeling right there, that quiet fear of lost time, is what this video is about. Most people don't struggle with money because they are lazy or careless. They struggle because life is heavy. Salaries come late and disappear early. Rent, groceries, electricity, school fees, medical bills, they all rise quietly while income stays the same. You promise yourself that next year will be better, that once you earn a little more, you'll start saving or investing. But next year comes with new problems, new responsibilities, and the same empty feeling at the end of the month. There is a silent pressure that comes with earning a living. You are expected to provide, to support family, to be responsible. Even when you're exhausted, even when you're scared, you keep going. And because of that pressure, thinking about the future feels overwhelming. Investing sounds like something for people with extra money, extra time, or extra confidence. So you delay it, not because you don't care, but because you're already carrying so much. But delaying has a cost. Not an obvious cost. Not something that hits you today, but something that slowly grows in the background. Every year you wait, time moves forward without you. And time is the one thing investing needs more than money. You don't feel the loss now, but one day it shows up as regret when energy is lower, when responsibilities are higher, and when options are fewer. Imagine an older version of yourself, not dramatic, just real, still paying bills, still worrying about emergencies, still hoping nothing goes wrong. Not because you failed, but because you never gave your money a chance to grow. That fear is uncomfortable, but it's honest. And honesty is where change begins. Investing is not about becoming rich quickly. It's not about charts, predictions, or impressing anyone. At its core, investing is an act of self-respect. It's saying, my future matters, even if today is difficult. It's choosing to protect the person you will become, not just survive as the person you are now. Most beginners think investing requires big money. It doesn't. What it requires is consistency and patience. Even small amounts invested regularly can grow into something meaningful over time. Not because of luck, but because of discipline. The same discipline you already use to wake up early, to show up for work, to take care of others. Investing simply asks you to extend that discipline to yourself. Think of it like planting a tree. The day you plant it, nothing changes. The next month, nothing changes. Even the next year, it still looks small. And that's why many people stop. They say it's not working, but they misunderstand the process. Growth happens quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. And then one day, it's their shade, strength, stability, something you can rely on. Your salary is important, but it has limits. It depends on your health, your job, and circumstances you can't fully control. Investing is different. It works while you sleep, while you age, while life happens. It doesn't replace effort, but it rewards patience. And the earlier you start, the lighter the effort becomes over time. Many people wait for the perfect moment, higher income, less responsibility, more knowledge. That moment rarely comes. Life doesn't pause to give you space. The truth is, investing is meant to begin imperfectly, with doubts, with small amounts, with fear. Waiting for confidence is a mistake. Confidence comes after action, not before it. There's also an emotional side to money that people don't talk about. The shame of not having enough, the anxiety of emergencies, the guilt of wanting more security for your family. Investing doesn't remove these feelings overnight, but it slowly replaces fear with control. Each small step tells your mind, I am not stuck. I am moving forward. This journey isn't about comparing yourself to others. Someone will always earn more, start earlier, or move faster. Your path is your own. What matters is direction. Even slow progress in the right direction changes everything over time. Right now, you don't need complicated strategies. You only need to accept one truth. Doing nothing is a decision, and it's usually the most expensive one. As this part comes to an end, sit with this thought. If you continue exactly as you are financially, where does it realistically lead? And if you change just one habit this year, one small, consistent investing step, how different could your future feel? Hold that question. We'll continue from here when you're ready. When people finally decide to start investing, the first thing they feel is not excitement, it's fear. Fear of doing it wrong. Fear of losing what little they have. Fear of being judged for not knowing enough. And that fear is understandable because money mistakes feel personal. They don't just hurt numbers on a screen, they hurt pride, security, and trust in yourself. But here's something important that rarely gets said. Most financial pain does not come from investing mistakes. It comes from never investing at all, from letting money sit still while life moves forward, from depending only on income and hoping nothing goes wrong. That kind of risk feels invisible, but it's very real. Think about how hard you work for your money, the hours, the stress, the sacrifices. Every unit of currency you earn represents a piece of your time and energy. When that money is spent and forgotten, it disappears. When it is invested, even in a small way, it carries your effort into the future. Investing is not about money working for you in some magical sense. It's about respecting the effort you already gave. Many people believe investing requires intelligence they don't have, but investing is not about being smart, it's about being consistent. You don't need to predict markets. You don't need to react to every headline. In fact, the more emotional and reactive you are, the worse your results usually become. Calm, boring, patient behavior often wins. Real investing feels slow, almost uncomfortable. There are months when nothing seems to happen. There are periods when markets fall and fear comes back. This is where most people quit, not because they were wrong, but because they expected quick confirmation. Investing tests your ability to stay steady when there is no applause. This is similar to life. You don't see results immediately when you take responsibility, when you show up consistently, when you choose long-term stability over short-term comfort. But those choices quietly shape who you become. Investing simply makes that process visible over time. Family responsibility adds another layer of emotional weight. You're not just thinking about yourself. You're thinking about parents, children, spouses. Emergencies feel scarier because the consequences affect others. That pressure often leads people to avoid risk entirely. But avoiding all risk doesn't remove danger, it shifts it into the future. Not investing is also a risk. Inflation slowly reduces what your money can buy. Expenses rise while savings stay the same. What feels safe today can become fragile tomorrow. Investing is not about taking reckless chances, it's about choosing a controlled, thoughtful risk now to avoid a much bigger risk later. There is also the issue of self-trust. Many people secretly believe they are bad with money. They carry past mistakes like a label. Missed savings goals, impulsive spending, debt. But your past does not define your future behavior. Discipline is not something you're born with, it's something you build by keeping small promises to yourself. Start small on purpose, an amount that doesn't scare you but still matters enough to feel real. Automate it if possible. Remove the need to decide every month. This turns investing from a test of willpower to a habit. Habits are powerful because they continue even when motivation fades. Over time, something interesting happens. Your relationship with money changes. You stop seeing it only as something to spend or worry about. You begin to see it as a tool, a quiet partner in your life. That shift reduces anxiety. You feel less desperate for quick wins, less tempted by risky shortcuts. There will be moments when you question yourself, when markets drop, when someone tells you a scary story, when you think about stopping. These moments are not signs of failure, they are part of the journey. Long-term investing is not about avoiding fear, about learning not to obey it. The goal is not to escape work or responsibility. The goal is to create breathing room, to know that if life surprises you, you are not completely unprepared, to age with dignity, to make choices from stability rather than panic. Imagine reaching a point where money problems are not your constant background noise, where you still work, still contribute, but without that tight feeling in your chest. That future is not created by one big decision. It is created by hundreds of small, boring, disciplined ones. As this part ends, remember this: investing is not a race. You are not behind because you're starting now. You're ahead because you're choosing awareness over denial. In the next part, we'll go deeper into how patience, time, and emotional discipline quietly turn ordinary people into financially secure ones without drama, without shortcuts, and without losing yourself in the process. By the time people reach the later stages of their working life, many realize something painful. They were strong enough to work for decades, but never gave their money the same long-term strength. This realization doesn't come loudly. It comes in quiet moments during medical visits, family discussions, sleepless nights, or when retirement stops feeling like a distant idea and starts feeling uncomfortably close. What makes this painful is not just the lack of money, but the feeling that time slipped away unnoticed. No one ever wakes up one morning and says, "I chose to waste my financial future." It happens slowly, through postponement, through telling yourself you'll start later, through focusing only on immediate needs while the future patiently waits. Investing teaches a different way of thinking about time. It forces you to zoom out, to think in years instead of weeks, to accept that meaningful progress often looks boring in the short term. This mindset is rare, not because it's complicated, but because it requires emotional maturity. It requires you to care about outcomes you won't see right away. One of the hardest lessons in investing is learning to sit still. Doing nothing at the right time is often more powerful than doing something dramatic. This goes against how we're wired. We want action. We want reassurance. We want proof that our effort is working. But markets don't reward impatience. They reward those who can stay calm while others panic. This calm is not natural. It's practiced. It comes from understanding that ups and downs are normal, not signs of failure. It comes from knowing why you invested in the first place, not to impress anyone, not to get rich quickly, but to protect your future self. Many people underestimate how emotional financial decisions are. Fear makes people sell too early. Greed makes people chase what's already expensive. Regret makes people freeze and stop altogether. Successful investing is less about intelligence and more about emotional control, about learning to pause before reacting, about trusting a simple plan over noisy opinions. Your plan doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be reasonable and consistent. Regular investing into solid long-term assets, avoiding the temptation to constantly change direction, giving time a chance to do its work. This is not passive behavior, it's disciplined behavior. Over years, this discipline compounds in two ways. Your money grows, yes, but more importantly, your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to see proof that patience leads somewhere. That feeling changes how you approach other areas of life. You make decisions more calmly. You feel less rushed, less desperate. There will always be reasons to stop. Unexpected expenses, market downturns, emotional fatigue. Life does not become easier just because you invest, but investing gives you a stronger foundation to handle life as it is. It doesn't remove uncertainty, but it reduces vulnerability. One day, without any dramatic moment, you'll look at your progress and realize something important. You are no longer starting from zero. You are no longer completely dependent on tomorrow's paycheck. You have built something quietly over time, through ordinary decisions repeated consistently. This is where investing becomes deeply personal. It stops being about returns and starts being about dignity, about knowing you did what you could with what you had, about breaking the cycle of constant financial stress, about leaving your future self with options instead of excuses. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to be willing to continue when it feels slow, when it feels boring, when it feels like nothing is happening. Because that is exactly when something is happening, just not in a way that demands attention. As this part comes to a close, reflect on this quietly. If you stayed consistent for the next 5, 10, 15 years, not aggressively, not dramatically, just patiently, how different would your life feel? Not just financially, but emotionally. That answer is why this journey matters. Before we end this journey, take a slow breath and let everything settle. Not the words, but the feeling behind them. Because this was never just about money. It was about time, responsibility, and the quiet relationship you have with your future self. Most people don't fail financially because they make terrible decisions. They fail because they never fully decide at all. They stay in between working hard, worrying often, hoping things somehow improve on their own. Hope feels comforting, but hope without action slowly turns into regret. And regret is heavy. It's the weight of knowing you could have done something small, but didn't. You still have something incredibly valuable right now, the ability to choose. Not a dramatic choice, not a risky leap. Just a calm, steady decision to start showing up for your future the same way you show up for everyone else, even if it's imperfect, even if it's small. Financial freedom is not a finish line where life suddenly becomes perfect. It's a state of breathing easier, of sleeping better, of not feeling trapped by every unexpected expense. It's knowing that your older self won't have to beg time for a second chance. Think about how much pressure you carry today. The responsibility to earn, to provide, to stay strong, even when you're tired. Investing is not another burden. It's a release valve, a way to slowly transfer today's effort into tomorrow's security. A way to tell yourself, I am not abandoning my future. There will be days when progress feels invisible, months when nothing exciting happens. That doesn't mean it's failing. That means it's working the way real things work, quietly, patiently, honestly. The most powerful changes in life rarely announce themselves. One day, far from now, you'll face a moment where you'll be grateful you started. It might be an emergency handled calmly, a choice made without panic, or simply peace of mind as you grow older. That moment won't feel loud or dramatic. It will feel solid, and it will exist because of decisions you make today. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You don't need to become someone else. You only need to take one smart step, then repeat it. Consistency is not about motivation. It's about commitment. A quiet promise to yourself that you will not let time pass without direction anymore. If you feel fear right now, that's okay. Fear means you care. Let that fear guide you forward, not hold you still. Let it remind you that doing nothing is also a choice, and usually the most expensive one. Your future does not need perfection. It needs participation. It needs patience. It needs you to begin. So when this video ends, don't rush. Don't promise everything. Just decide one thing you can do consistently. One step that moves you from hoping to building, from worrying to preparing. That is how financial freedom really begins. Quietly, honestly, with respect for yourself and the life you are trying to protect. And that step, that first smart investing step, can start today. Let this last moment be quiet and honest, not motivating in a loud way, but grounding in a real way. Because real change doesn't usually happen when emotions are high, happens when clarity settles in. You don't need to remember every word from this video. You don't need to feel inspired tomorrow morning. What matters is that something shifted inside you, a small awareness that time matters, that your future deserves intention, and that you are more capable than you sometimes believe. Money will always come and go. Markets will rise and fall. Life will stay unpredictable. But one thing can remain steady: your commitment to act thoughtfully, even when it feels slow, even when no one is watching, even when the results are far away. If you've ever felt behind, remember this: the moment you start thinking long-term, you're no longer behind. You're aligned. You're no longer just reacting to life. You're shaping it quietly. There is dignity in preparation. There is peace in progress. And there is strength in choosing patience over panic. Years from now, you won't remember the exact day you started, but you will feel the difference it made. And that feeling calm, stable, unafraid, will be worth every small step you took when it didn't feel exciting. This is not the end of anything. It's the beginning of a different relationship with money, time, and yourself. Move slowly. Stay consistent. Respect the journey. And whenever you feel unsure, come back to this simple truth. Taking responsibility for your future is never a mistake. Not wealth in a dramatic sense, not luxury or status, just stability, the kind that lets you breathe, the kind that allows you to say no when you need to help when you want to. That kind of stability is built quietly, long before it's needed. It's built when no one is clapping, when progress feels slow, when the world keeps rushing and you choose to stay patient anyway. You are not late to your life. You are here now. And now is always enough to begin. Every small investment you make is a message to your future self. I didn't forget you. Every month you stay consistent is proof that discipline is stronger than excuses. Every year you continue is a reminder that ordinary people can build extraordinary peace by refusing to quit. There will be moments when you feel tired of being patient. That's normal. In those moments, don't look at charts or numbers. Look at your reason. Look at the life you're trying to protect. Look at the older version of yourself who will one day live inside the results of today's choices. You don't need to rush. You don't need to compare. You don't need to be perfect. Just don't stop. Because one day, quietly and without warning, you'll realize something powerful. You are no longer afraid of the future. And that is what financial freedom truly is. Sit with that realization for a moment. A future that doesn't feel threatening. A future that doesn't steal your sleep. A future where money is no longer a constant source of tension, but a quiet support in the background of your life. That future is not reserved for special people. It's built by ordinary individuals who decided to stop drifting and start steering, even slowly. People who accepted that progress doesn't need to be fast to be real. It just needs to be consistent. You will still face challenges. There will still be unexpected expenses, emotional stress, and moments of doubt. Investing doesn't remove struggle from life. It gives struggle less power over you. It gives you space to respond instead of panic, to think instead of react. And maybe the most important change happens internally. You begin to respect yourself more. Because every time you stay disciplined, every time you choose long-term stability over short-term comfort, you reinforce a quiet belief. That belief changes everything. It changes how you spend, how you plan, how you handle pressure, how you view time. You stop seeing years as something to fear and start seeing them as allies. Each year becomes an opportunity for growth instead of a reminder of what you didn't do. If you ever feel overwhelmed, come back to simplicity. You don't need to do more. You just need to continue. The power is not in intensity. It's in endurance. This journey will never feel finished, and that's okay. Financial freedom isn't a destination where you stop caring. It's a mindset where you stop being afraid. So move forward calmly, patiently, with respect for your limits and belief in your consistency. Your future is listening to what you do today. Make sure it hears commitment, not delay. And when you're ready, take that next small step, not because you're chasing something, but because you're building something that deserves time. Your future is not asking you to be fearless. It's not asking you to be perfect. It's only asking you to be present. Present enough to stop postponing your own well-being. Present enough to admit that time matters. Present enough to take responsibility without punishment or shame. You are allowed to start small. You are allowed to learn slowly. You are allowed to build quietly. None of that makes you weak. It makes you sustainable. One day, long from now, you'll sit somewhere ordinary, maybe at home, maybe with family, maybe alone, and you'll feel a calm you can't quite explain. Bills won't scare you the way they used to. The future won't feel like a threat. And in that moment, you won't think about markets or strategies. You'll think about the version of yourself who chose to begin when it wasn't comfortable. The version of yourself who stayed consistent when no one was watching. The version of yourself who respected time. That person is you, right now. Nothing needs to change all at once. Life doesn't demand that. But it does respond to direction. And direction begins with a single honest step, taken without drama. So don't wait for confidence. Build it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Use this one. Don't wait for motivation. Choose commitment. Financial freedom doesn't arrive suddenly. It grows quietly around you as you keep showing up. And one day you realize you're standing inside it. That's not luck. That's patience. That's discipline. That's self-respect. And it starts the moment you decide that your future is worth one small, smart step today.